Welcome to SA Today on the Orange Television Network. I'm Perry Russell. Tonight we sit down with the Chair of Academic Affairs Committee, Andy Schwab, to discuss SA's latest resolution on Pan Am Flight 103. But first, SA President John Barnhart joins us live in studio to discuss the latest issues affecting you. John, what's the latest?
Hey, thanks, Perry. It's great to be back on Citrus TV and on SA Today for the first time this semester. Got a lot of exciting stuff to catch you guys up on, but let's start with what we did this summer. This summer I had a great opportunity to take a road trip across the East Coast to see all the new students at the new student send-offs. In total, I attended 10 new student send-offs, which was a great time, getting to meet the incoming class and talk to the alumni about things that are facing us here on campus. But also over the summer, on a more serious note, we found the Connective Corridor might have some funding issues. So Student Association stepped in to make sure that we lobbied on behalf of students to enhance the versions of the Connective Corridor and really push for the new reforms that are coming that way. So we did a lot of good stuff this summer. Now moving into this semester, I'm proud to announce that we just elected 30 new members to the Student Association, with 5 more on the ballot for tonight. I guess that probably has to do with our great social media presence, so if you're not on Facebook and Twitter yet, make sure you're following us there. Now this semester we're also going to be focusing on RHA and working with overcrowding in residence halls for the first year students. Of course we'll be tackling things like Mayfest, working with the University College, and might even be dipping into Veterans Affairs. But I'm going to have to let the rest go to everybody else, so Perry, back to you.
And John will be right back later to respond to your comments about those latest issues. But first, the most recent resolution on Pan Am Flight 103 when we return. You're watching SA Today on the Orange Television Network.
Yes, you are. Come here. Let's see how this looks.
Hey, how's my little horse?
She's a lion.
Yes, she is.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. When you adopt a child from foster care, just being there makes all the difference.
No matter where you live, life in the ocean depends on you. To help protect our ocean, recycle and dispose of your trash properly. To learn what you can do, go to keepoceansclean.org.
We can all be more energy efficient. It's easy. Use energy-saving light bulbs. Energy Smart Power Strips. And turn off electronics and appliances when not in use. Learn what you can do today at energy.gov/tink.
Welcome back. In 1988, Pan Am Flight 103 was bombed over Lockerbie, Scotland. All 270 people on board were killed, and among those passengers were 35 Syracuse University students. The university has vowed to remember the lives of those lost in the terrorist attack. And now SA has responded to the recent release of Abdel Bassat al-Megrahi, the sole person found responsible for the attack. Unfortunately, Andy Schwab could not be here, but right now we have John Barnhart rejoining us. So John, could you please explain the resolution and how the whole thing got started?
Well, let's talk a little bit about what happened this summer, right? So last summer, the accused bomber, Bassat al-Megrahi, was released on what they called compassionate grounds. And this summer, all of a sudden that was called into question when his doctor came out after saying he'd only lived for 3 months and now he's been alive for a year, possibly 9 more years to come. People were kind of upset. And then there was this whole investigation call from our own senators here in the state of New York and in the states of New Jersey, asking for an investigation on whether British Petroleum had any involvement. And so we really felt like a lot more had come to the table, and as the student body, we really needed to put that opinion forward. Because too often when you watch the news and when you watch the cycles of what people are talking about, the student voice and the impact it's had at Syracuse University really kind of gets lost in the mud, if you will. And so we wanted to put forward a resolution that really detailed how students felt about this. And that's really where the resolution that you're seeing now came from.
So are the Remembrance Scholars getting any support with this? Do they have any input at all with this?
Of course. This resolution actually went through the Remembrance Scholars. They all looked at it, they all liked it, they all signed off on it. And of course, we're still working closely with them, not only to put this resolution forward, but as we start to move things forward in the future, sending letters to the senators, to our Secretary of State, to our own President of the United States, saying that we support his moves and the moves of the senators the Remembrance Scholars are behind us all the way. They've signed petitions, and they're even adding events to this year's Remembrance Week to make sure that students on campus are not only educated about the events that took place, but the most recent updates this summer and how this resolution is going to play into those.
So what are the next steps? What outcomes does SA and the university expect to come after this?
Well, obviously the big outcome we wanted was to just put a student voice and a student face behind this issue because, again, too often that really gets lost. But the next steps from here is we plan on taking this resolution along with a couple cover letters and some petitions signed by the Remembrance Scholars and sending them on to the senators who called for the investigation of British Petroleum, our 2 senators here in New York and the 2 senators of New Jersey, as well as our own Congressman Dan Maffei, and then, of course, to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, to Vice President Joe Biden, and to President Obama, to show them that we really do support this and that we hope they'll continue to push forward. And then after that, we might be looking to hold a press conference as well here on the campus to detail the student opinion and to show why Syracuse University's community is so heavily impacted by this, by this force. And then, of course, that'll lead into Remembrance Week, which is the week we dedicate here on campus to remembering the 35 students that were lost in the bombing.
So John, for our student viewers who are pretty interested in this topic, where can they actually receive the document?
Oh, you mean a copy of the resolution?
Right.
Of course, they can come into our office and get it. It'll also be online by the end of the day, hopefully. Had some small glitches with OrgSync today, but we're getting that all worked out. So you'll be able to find it both online and in our office if you need it.
Okay, thank you very much, John. Coming up, John will rejoin us again to answer your questions. We'll be right back.
Hey, Mark.
Hey,
Where have you been?
I lost my cat.
Oh, that's not right.
Yeah, so I made this cat magnet to try and get him back.
Cool. Does it work?
Kinda.
Nice.
Yeah, but that's not my cat. Gotta keep working on it. See ya.
Yeah.
Anything's possible. Keep thinking. Get started on your own inventions or just play some games at inventnow.org.
I helped build it. Nitasaidia kujenga nyumba moja hapa.
Ayudamos, ahora son nuestras.
Я тоже помогаю в Кыргызстане. Estamos construyendo miles en el Caribe.
Hemos construido cientos en el Ecuador.
Habitat's building homes all around the world. Come join us and help build it.
Habitat for Humanity. Donate. Volunteer. Get involved. Visit habitat.org.
Everyone has friends. There's online friends. Friends to go out with on a Saturday night. Friends to hang out with and do nothing. Friends who show up on moving day. And then there are the friends who'll be there if someone is dealing with a mental illness. Are you one of those friends?
Barnhart to respond to your comment. We caught up with some students around campus to hear what they have to say. The first comment comes from a student who has concerns regarding parking both on and off campus. Let's take a listen.
5 buses passed by because they were all full. So I feel like sometimes it's really nice because, it's convenient if they have buses. But on days like today where a lot of people are going to class early in the morning, it's really inconvenient to get a bus to campus.
So this student lives on South Campus and has an issue with getting to class and parking during the week. So has SA had any effect of this and any issue?
We're always looking at buses to make sure that our buses, especially the ones going to and from South Campus, are working as efficiently as possible. And if need be, we can look into that again to make sure that students are getting on those buses. What often happens, though, is students don't realize what times the buses actually show up at certain locations. So we have students thinking they're too late to get on a certain bus, and they get on at the wrong location, which just overloads it. So by the time the bus reaches the end of the road, let's say if they're coming all the way out to Winding Ridge, the bus is already full. And so, we can look into that again to make sure that students are actually getting to campus when they need to. But as far as parking goes, it's an issue we're always looking at. Student parking's been a big issue for a long time because, there are some lots that aren't open to students and parking passes are so expensive. So we're really trying to create a culture here where maybe students don't need cars and maybe better busing's the first solution to that, or maybe opening up more parking's the next solution. So definitely we can look into the cost of parking permits, which I think is a big issue facing a lot of students today.
Okay, so the next comment comes from a junior who's concerned with lounge space in campus dorms, and that seems to be slowly turning into more and more dorm rooms.
As you guys know, this year we actually saw the largest class SU has ever enrolled. And while that sounds great, we unfortunately had to sacrifice lounge space to include all those students. I can assure you this is an issue both SA and the Residence Hall Association are working very closely on to address. It really comes down to a couple big questions here, which is, what is the first year experience? Why are first year students asked to live in residence halls, and what do they gain from having a lounge versus what are they losing without having one? And of course that also goes to the RAs. What are RAs losing not having access to that lounge space and not being able to promote the programs that they're supposed to?
But shouldn't Ernie Davis building that last year, finally opening its second semester, shouldn't that have fixed that situation beforehand?
We would like to think so, but what happens is during the admissions process, there's a formula applied. How many students apply versus how many are admitted, and then you take that formula and you can roughly guesstimate how many students are actually going to attend. However, as you guys know, Syracuse University offers tremendous financial aid packages, which we feel like really brought a lot of students in that we weren't expecting. So that's kind of the reason for the over-enrollment in a way, is so many students were accepting the good things that SU had. So while we definitely used Ernie Davis to try to counter off the more students we'd have, we even had more than we expected there. So a couple of the things we're looking at are, as you know, next year ESF will have its own first year residence hall, and so we'll be able to open Sky Halls back up to first year students, which will be great. But we also kind of want to look at, what is that second year experience? Why is it that second year students have to live in residence halls as well? Aren't they just taking up rooms we could be opening up to first year students when perhaps they'd like to live in their Greek house or they'd like to live somewhere on South Campus? That's really an issue we're going to bring to the table next week when we sit down and have a meeting with them.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, John, and thanks again for joining us tonight. Remember, if you want to get involved with SA, you can attend their meetings every Monday at 7:30 in the Maxwell Auditorium. Be sure to join us right here next Monday after live news for a brand new SA Today. For John Barnhart and the entire SA Cabinet, I'm Perry Russum. Have a great evening.